So, today I'd like to discuss some of the challenges that both the right and the left are facing as of the current moment. The way I see it, it's like this: this is the struggle that's happening. It's not simply a struggle over tax rates, although our wimpy representatives on the right wish that's all it was. It's not a struggle over how free the market should be, or anything economic on its face. It is, in fact, a struggle that goes back over 75 years. You see, this struggle has been played out before, with the conclusion of that struggle ending in 1945, and the cycle starting over here in America, where it's been modified slightly. The struggle is as follows: satanic pedophile elites and their sympathizers, consisting of varying ethnic backgrounds but oftentimes favoring one particular ethnicity, attempt to take a perfectly fine and prosperous nation and turn it into their personal playground for sexual debauchery and corruption, without causing the people to openly revolt and throw them out of power. They use the same techniques over and over and over, never changing their playbook because they know in the long run those techniques are effective. Now, 30% of the general public are checked out. They don't care, they don't notice. They would go along no matter what happened to them, no matter what kind of government was in power. Another 30% are huge fans of what is happening to them. They vote for it, they argue in favor of it, they live and breathe it as it's an essential part of their life, as essential as air itself. Support for this agenda becomes their very personality. They can put their own survival instincts on hold in support for it. Another 30% hate it. They despise and resent it. They're grossed out by it. They see it as cancer, as rot, as anti-traditional and anti-civilizational. It's not right versus left, it's right versus wrong. It acknowledges that everything the other side stands for runs against the grain of reality and is nothing more than lies. It is everything they have ever been against for their country's whole life, and so they are obligated to fight it. And so it becomes a careful balancing act for the corrupt elite. How hard can we push our agenda without getting insurrection levels of pushback? According to them, we're very close to that limit, aren't we? And we hear this all the time, that something like democracy is in danger due to this or that reaction of the right. And you begin to get the impression that this democracy thing seems a bit fragile, and also seems very important and critical to the pedophilic elites holding on to power. At this point in the process, that 30% of opposition is becoming more radical. It has to, because the optimistic view that the goal is to go back to the way things used to be is now a lost cause, and that doing something as banal and benign as voting our way out of this problem seems more and more unrealistic. It becomes more obvious by the day that one must fight fire with fire, extremism with extremism, that one needs to grow up and pick a side and go all the way, or all is lost. Now the regime knows this, and in an attempt to dissuade as many people as possible from becoming dissidents, they've placed tremendous taboos on any possible effective solutions. Let's ask a very reasonable question as an example. Should the government control the choices and actions of businesses and people to achieve better outcomes for the nation and its people? Puh, silly you. That's fascism. That's mustache man. That's everything we hate because it's effective. And so now they must exaggerate every aspect of the Germans during the war. And they must reduce what people did and willingly signed up for to, those same people simply being brainwashed by an insane madman who apparently made no sense and only preyed on baseless and animalistic fears. And so it is with you as well. Donald Trump doesn't make sense. He's not accurately pointing a finger at the problem. He's only manipulating your baser instincts and animalistic resource-gathering impulses. Drag Queen Story Hour is a blessing of liberty, and if you want to restrict that freedom, well, get ready to start goose-stepping, because guess what, bucko? That's fascism, and we can't go there. You are routinely gaslit into believing that the most effective solutions to our most desperate and malevolent problems are in fact the most evil ones, and that only a perverted sicko and hater of all that is good and lover of all that is bad could possibly entertain that kind of thinking. Because they know that if you see enough stuff like this, you'll do what they did in Germany and try to shut it down. And this is the great paradox, isn't it? If they know that behavior leads to their destruction, why do they do it anyways? Why are they so committed to it? Why are they so committed to open corruption and pillaging of this country? Why are they so attached to transsexuals that they'd put their lives on the line for them? Now, trust me, they have thought this through to the end way before conservatives have. That's why they frame everything the way that they do. They know exactly how this ends, and yet they continue to do it anyways. As I said in my What If They Just Say No video, we are at the logical endpoint where all parties involved know exactly what the other side is. We know exactly what they're trying to do, and yet the opposition is so wimpy, all they have to do is just call our bluff. Because they know what removing them from power would entail. They know what eliminating Drag Queen Story Hour and sexual deviancy would mean for them. They know what shutting down gender reassignment centers would look like. People like John and Tony Podesta know exactly what their fate would be if the power paradigm ever shifted away from their favor. The solution is so horrific and taboo and off limits that you can bet your ass that's what they're hiding behind. They know this behavior is wrong. That's why they do it. They know it pisses you off. That's why they do it. And they know that we can't coexist with values this disparate. But they also know that if we would ever get the balls to do something about it, we'd be portrayed as the next mid-century Germans. And so they continue, until we find the intestinal fortitude to do what previous generations didn't have the stomach for. And that is the struggle. Anyways, that's all the time I have for today. If you enjoyed this video and type of content I'm making, consider giving this video a like or maybe subscribing. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.